Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. Genius or a huge gamble? A lot that's going on in boxing. It happens all the time. You get new blood, new energy, people with a new vision, and they try to do things, and it either works, short term, long term, or it doesn't work at all. And that seems to be what's going on here with Wynn Records, Dmitry, Salita, and maybe even with Zeus getting involved with boxing. So I think this is boxing's biggest experiment. And I do think this is something that they're looking to do long term. But is this going to prove to be genius or a huge gamble? And for those who are thinking, nah, they're not looking to do anything long term. Nah, they are. Wynn Records, Dmitry, Salita, they posted a few things, man, just saying they're looking to work together long term. And they're trying to focus on the entertainment aspect. But listen to what Papoose said. He's letting people know that they're to be taken serious. Whether people take them serious or not, I mean, they take themselves serious.
And Wynn Records is a family. Like, I want y'all to understand that. We care about each other. We exercise loyalty, consideration, and hospitality. We got respect to the fullest, and we expect that back. You know what I'm saying? So I always say when I write my caption, when I be talking my fly shit, Wynn Records is the future of boxing, y'all. Straight up. Take it how you want it. That's what it is. You know, and
okay. He said Wynn Records is the future of boxing. Y'all can take it how you want it. And you know what that tells me? Is that they really have some things that they're working on. What it's going to be, I don't know. But we're going to find out, because right now it seems to be a huge gamble, because I can tell you with a lot of people who get involved with boxing, they learn. This shit isn't as easy as it seems from the outside. Now, they have been involved for a little while, working with Dmitry, Salita, working with Claressa Shields. They've signed a few additional fighters. And it seemed that what may have started off as an experiment to see they can figure this out and kind of carve a niche. It seems like maybe they may have done that. I don't know. Still too early to say. But I think this is the most interesting promotional experiment in years. Just for them to come and take Claressa Shields the way they've taken her, which most of us think has been the wrong direction. For Dmitry, Salita to have fallen back, doesn't seem to be as vocal as it used to be when it comes to Claressa Shields in her career. For Zeus Network now to be, kind of working hand in hand with Dmitry, Salita, and Wynn Records. It's all interesting, but I do think, and look, I'm not saying I agree or disagree. Remember me, I'm an observer. I'm neutral when it comes to a lot of this shit. You know when I'm not, because I'll start ranting and raving. But I just think with the efforts to combine championship boxing, celebrity entertainment, and crossover audiences, which is what they're doing here on August 15th, some feel like this is just horrible. Like, what are you doing? But there are others who feel like the sport could, what they're doing could attract new fans. But I tell you what, man, too much emphasis on spectacle, which is what seems to be behind this right now. I think it'll overshadow the competition itself, and that's why we've talked about it when it comes to Claressa Shields. Most people aren't talking about her fight against K. Scott. They're talking about the Zeus portion of the fight. So I've been here trying to examine the potential business strategy behind collaborations involving promoters, entertainment companies, and crossover personalities, along with any opportunities that may present themselves and any risks that come with blending this traditional way of doing business and boxing promotion with modern entertainment. So that being said, I know boxing is about entertainment. It's also about the prize, the Wu-Tang Cream, cha-ching-ching, dollar bill, y'all. But I also know every time they promote a fight and put a fight on, it's almost experimental, because you just don't know what's going to happen, because there's risk involved. But I'll tell you this, for decades, boxing promotion followed a familiar model. You built a card around world titles, promising contenders, and established champions. But you look at what's going on today, promoters across combat sports are experimenting with new ways to attract audiences. They're going from a traditional way of promoting to attract audiences to a non-traditional way. So now you got the celebrity events, you got influencer events, you even have musical performances, you got these entertainment partnerships, Uh, all these these various streaming platforms. You got reality television. So when I think about those things, I just have one question: can all of these different audiences become boxing fans, or will they remain interested in only the spectacle? And will boxing, when it comes to these events, will the boxing portion die off? For Claressa Shields and anyone else who may be involved in a unique presentation like this, will it look good on the outside? But once the event actually happens, will they feel like, hold on, I'm actually being put second to the co-main and the undercard, although I'm the main event, nobody came to see me. And see, that's where I think you start to have a bit of trouble in paradise. But I will tell you this, man. There is an upside. Broader exposure, new demographics, increased sponsorship possibilities, larger social media reach, and additional revenue opportunities if it works out. If it doesn't work out, all that flops. But I'll tell you, if even a small percentage of new viewers become a long-term boxing fan, I'll tell you what, man, long-term, that could grow and pay dividends. But I'm telling you right now, most boxing fans are hesitant, especially cats like me. I don't have time for all that, the drama and the hoopla. I don't care to be caught up in drama, to see drama. I don't care. I'm one of them traditional boxing purists. I just want to see the boxing. I don't care about these entertainers they're putting on there, but that's me. See, I'm from the old school, but there's a new generation out here. So they're out here saying, "Oh, this is genius." But then guys like me and others who are traditional boxing fans, we're like, "Yo, this shit is a huge gamble. What are you doing?" But then people are resistant to change. But I'm telling you, man, there are a lot of people who are hesitant, especially the women, because women are looking at what they're doing here, and they're like, especially for boxing, they're like, why in the world would they bring this Zeus network or Baddies world or this entertainment world over here into boxing, where the women already, no matter what women do, they already have it tough in this world. They have it very difficult. So why would you add this layer of unattractiveness to a boxing event that could be very attractive? But you could incorporate an entertainment piece, music-wise, but you don't have to bring the drama and all the bullshit, which is what they feel that's happening right now. But again, it looks like it's going to be a long-term thing if this works out, if they attract new followers, because long-term they're going to say this right here could turn to be something very lucrative. Now, long-time boxing fans, they appreciate the competitive tradition of the fight. They don't care about the spectacle. The only spectacle they want to see is when those two fighters get in the ring and somebody get their teeth knocked out their mouth. That's what we're looking for. You know what I'm saying? But the worry is that if the entertainment, which is already happening, if it begins to overshadow the sport, championship boxing can lose part of its identity. When you look at this event already, that's already happened to a certain extent. I'd say maybe 10% of people are talking about Claressa Shields and K. Scott. Everyone else is talking about Zeus, the Baddies. And when I say everyone else, I'm talking about casuals, boxing fans, everyone. The conversation isn't centered around Claressa Shields and K. Scott. If you think about Claressa Shields and Franchon Cruz, everybody was talking about that fight. Franchon was being interviewed. Franchon and Claressa were bubbling on social media. There's absolutely zero discussion. Nothing going on. Everything is about Zeus, the Baddies, Orlando Brown, and Ray J. That's it. And that's what happens when you put celebrity matchups together. They draw attention away from the elite fighters, the traditional boxers. And then you have promotional drama replacing technical analysis. We haven't even talked about, well, for the Zeus network, their Zeus fighters are going to be on their own network, Zeus. Claressa and I think the traditional fighters are going to be on the zone. But even when you think about that, a lot of boxing fans are saying Zeus is working, or the zone is working with these people who are working with Zeus. And then they realize Claressa Shields fighting on the zone, and they've already went and unsubscribed. Now, some people may say that that's petty. I say that's their right. If a person wants to keep the zone subscription, keep it. If you want to cancel it, cancel it. People can do what they want to do. But I'm not surprised, because there's a change coming. People are always resistant to change because it's the unknown. But when you have an idea of what you're going to get here, you can solve for X. You know what, Claressa? Yes, she can fight. She brings drama. She has really came out here, man, and disrespected so many people on so many levels at so many ages. I'm not here to talk about all that because we already know. But then you look at what's going on with Zeus. They found a way to make some money, but they bring drama. They bring violence. There's nothing positive about what they're doing over there in the image of women. So there are a lot of people looking and saying, how the hell can DAZN even allow themselves to be to get anywhere near this bullshit? So it's a guilty by association thing. But we got to see how it plays out, because I'll tell you this. Any audience attending this event, I think 85% is attending for the entertainment, for the drama, for the fighting, for all the crap that they see when they're watching the Zeus network, and those women fighting and trying to hurt each other and being disgusting. That's what they're attending to see. And I believe that's going to take place in the crowd. I think that's going to take place at gas stations. I think that's going to take place during fight week, the day before the fight and the day of the fight. I think Atlanta is going to be turned into Zeus Network. I don't think it's just going to be something contained inside the ring. That's my opinion. I hope I'm wrong. But I'm telling you this right now, man, when it comes to this, man, I say 15% of people are probably attending for boxing itself. Just 15% out of the other 85 is there for the bullshit. Now, if the stuff that I'm mentioning, which are my concerns, if they prove accurate, I think it just depends on how, I think security measures they put in place, and overall how they want to present these type of events on August 15th and then over time. But if they get it wrong August 15th, I mean, it was a huge gamble and they failed, because I don't think there'll be another one. But if for some reason they hit a financial home run, they have the proper measures in place to contain any of the melee and nonsense that could possibly pop off in there, right? And could spawn all over the goddamn city of Atlanta, then they may have something, but they got to find a way to contain it. Now, this thing about professionalism, it is so important for people to be professional, man. I would tie professionalism into the presentation, because presentation matters. And you see how they're presenting this so far. I haven't seen I've seen Ray J and Orlando Brown back and forth. I watched that for about 30, 45 seconds, and I couldn't listen to it. With the women, I didn't watch the women from Zeus Network and their portion of the press conference. I did see Claressa and K. Scott, their portion. Claressa wasn't disrespectful to her, too disrespectful. She did say, Kate, I love you, but I'm like, F you. But Claressa didn't really go all out like she normally does. A lot of people are wondering, why did she take it easy during that press conference with K. Scott? Now, I've heard people say different things. I'll just tell you, it was a noticeable difference between how she spoke and interacted with K. Scott and how she has spoken and interacted with opponents of the past. But maybe they're trying to push to be positive. Or maybe Claressa is uncomfortable talking trash like that to someone like K. Scott. I don't know what it is, but I do notice that it was very different. And she wasn't toxic like she normally is. Just maybe they're realizing, right? Because Dmitry Salita is involved. You got DAZN is involved. Then you got Zeus and Wynn. But maybe because of DAZN's involvement, maybe there was a conversation. Because DAZN they're very powerful. So understand this. Dmitry Salita does not want to burn that bridge. All these promoters have their fighters over there fighting on DAZN, the DAZN app, the DAZN network. They do not want to burn that bridge. So this could be a case where they said, look, Y'all want to give a highly entertaining event? We want to give that as well. They're going to be fighting on Zeus Network, but look, we don't want to be guilty by association if there's any bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Because you guys have fighters that are fighting on the zone who are going to be floating around. We don't need those fighters mixed up in none of that chaos. So we need you guys to come out here, make sure the production's organized, have clear security plans. Everyone needs to be professional. We need people to show respect for the athletes to show respect to each other, and there needs to be more of an emphasis on competition than all this negative bullshit. And I really feel, and look, I could be wrong, but I'm pulling from just some explicit experience of how conversations happen behind closed doors, and the public will never know. But I'm watching that. That's why people are wondering what happened. I strongly believe there was a conversation that was like, as far as the fight and what airs on Zeus, we don't have any control of that network, but we're letting you all know. We're bringing y'all into our house. You understand? This is a Claressa Shields fight card. You guys on the undercard. So you guys represent the zone as well. Even though you're going to be airing it on your network. We can't have that. So it could be drama, or it could be where a lot of people who are attending looking for the drama, they're going to be disappointed because they done got their ass tripped up behind the scenes like, we ain't going to do that. And we just have to wait and see. But if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But if I'm right, then I'm right. I just know that professionalism helps reassure fans, reassure sponsors, broadcasters, and business partners that the event reflects positively on everyone involved. So for anyone saying, man, there ain't no sponsors involved in all this, and there ain't no endorsement deals for Claressa Shields and these other fighters, I'll tell you this shit's bigger than Claressa Shields. I'm going to keep coming back to the zone, the leadership at the zone. You better believe they don't have time for no BS. But everyone involved, I think is going to be on their P's and Q's. But I say that without that foundation of professionalism, short-term attention can become difficult to convert into long-term credibility because the short-term attention was all bad. So long-term, you're going to be plagued by that. And that's what's happened to Claressa Shields in her career field. In her career, you look at her in the last year, she got a whole lot of short-term attention, but long-term, her credibility is shot. People don't take her serious anymore. Can she fight? Yeah, we know that. I mean, it doesn't make sense to talk about that. But as far as can we take her serious, it's hard to. Because she chased after short-term attention, virality. And now she wants to be taken serious as a businesswoman, and her team. But it's going to be hard for them to be taken serious because they destroyed their credibility with a lot of the antics by Claressa Shields and what many people feel that they condone and allowed. So their credibility is shot. However, you never know. You know, you form a hypothesis, you run the test, and you see what's up, right? And this experiment, there is a chance that it could succeed, you know? And this is like best case scenario. You got the crossover event. They're talking about there's going to be a whole lot of famous people there. I mean, they Run DMC. We got a whole lot of superstars in this place here tonight. But I do know that crossover events, but this isn't a normal crossover event. But I do know if they get it right, it could attract boxing fans, entertainment fans, music fans, casual viewers. The main event could deliver a memorable fight with Claressa and K. Scott, where K. Scott gets in there and she really pushes Claressa to the limit, and people are shocked. And who knows, K. Scott may shock the world and get the victory, or Claressa is in a competitive matchup and it's going back and forth and the crowd is out their seats. I mean, you just don't know. The baddies could go and really show they got true boxing skill and is not being ignorant, and the crowd could get a really, really pleasant experience. Again, this is talking about best case scenario. Will we get a memorable fight and memorable night? Maybe, I don't know. But best case scenario, now they got new fans that's following all the fighters from the baddies to Claressa to K. Scott. Maybe there's one or two sponsors that peek up over out the bushes and see what's going on and take an interest. Maybe for the next event, ticket sales improve. But the bottom line, in that scenario, other promoters throughout boxing probably would study that model and say, yo, these people out here are genius. They took a huge gamble and it paid off. And success has always influenced the sport. So if somebody's doing something and being successful, other people normally want to emulate that. But there's always a chance the experiment fails and it flops badly. Now let's talk about the opposite outcome. This whole thing fails, right? Because there's a possibility that it does well, but there's a huge chance that it fails. This shit would attract so much attention because the entertainment that they plan on putting on is going to have so many eyes on it. But what if the viewers leave before the championship fight, which is something we've been talking about? All of a sudden, traditional fans become less interested. Sponsors are going to be like, hell no. They already seem to be reluctant to work with them anyway. The media coverage focuses more on controversy, the failure, than the competition. In that case, promoters may conclude that the model needs significant adjustment before trying it again, or they may just quit and go find something else to do. It depends on how much money is lost too, because there's a whole lot of money that's involved with these events. But this is my thing. I wonder what other promoters are thinking right now and what they may be watching, because they're not publicly saying anything. Major promotional companies generally pay attention to innovation within the industry. So they just sit back watching. We'll never know they're paying attention. We'll never know they're talking about it. But I'm sure they are. You got Matchroom, Top Rank, Queensberry. They have long histories of evaluating new promotional ideas. They're not necessarily resistant to change. They just would like to kind of see how things play out, have a conversation, and they'll decide if they want to indulge. But I do think if this non-traditional approach demonstrates measurable success, it's coming for the industry to study what worked and what didn't. And who knows what some of these other promotional factions, are going to do. But I tell you what, nobody does anything unless it goes through Turkey al-Sheikh. Because when Turkey's in the house, every day's Thanksgiving. Turkey al-Sheikh is one of boxing's most influential figures throughout his support of major international events. That doesn't mean every successful promotional idea will involve him, but significant developments elsewhere in the sport naturally attract attention across the industry. Turkey al-Sheikh is the man. You know what I mean? He is like the boxing god right now. Anything that man wants to make happen, he makes happen because he's got that bottomless bank account. You know what I'm saying? And I just wonder. I just wonder how these guys are viewing all this. But I tell you what, if the promotional model proves effective, but Turkey, I can't see him. But you know what? He did get involved and have paying for big time entertainers to come and intermissions, perform and stuff like that. But he's kind of got away from it. But I don't think he'll get involved with all that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? I don't. But we just got to sit back and see it play out. But I have a tough time thinking he's going to get involved with that. But I'll just tell you, man, this moment matters. Boxing has repeatedly reinvented itself over the decades. Cable television has changed promotion. Pay-per-view changed promotion. All this streaming has changed promotion. A lot of people don't pay for anything anymore. And then social media has changed promotion. So the current question is whether entertainment first collaborations represent another lasting evolution. And I don't know. I want to see what happens in the next year. I'll give it a year. And let's see what happens with boxing's biggest experiment. Because all the headlines are cool. Videos people put out are cool. But it doesn't really matter. That's just all talk, right? Me doing this video, it's just all talk. It's a conversation. But what matters are the measurable results, which we're going to find out. We're going to get them. From ticket sales or viewership, repeat customers, sponsor interest, and whether new fight fans continue to follow the sport after the event. Those are the results we can measure, and we're going to be paying attention to that. So, at the end of the day, is this innovation? I mean, yeah, it is. Has it been done before? Kind of, but not with a network like Zeus with the Baddies franchise that has so many damn people following it. You just don't know what's going to happen here. But this could be become a temporary idea, or it could become permanent. But there's always a chance of it disappearing. I just think the biggest challenge, no matter what happens, I think the biggest challenge remains the same. Can these promoters attract new audiences while preserving the integrity and professionalism that longtime boxing fans like myself value? If they can achieve both, the sport may grow. But if I tell you what, if they sacrifice the traditional boxing for the entertainment, the experiment is probably going to be short-lived. And if it continues long-term, it's going to be difficult to sustain it. It's going to be difficult. So Papoose, Claressa Shields and Zeus and DAZN and everybody, there's something going on here. And some people like it. A lot of people don't. But I'm going to sit back and watch and see how it all plays out like I normally do. Because this shit really is one of boxing's biggest experiments. And it's either going to prove to be genius or a huge gamble that flopped. Y'all keep cool. I'm in the breeze.